Okay, so we carry on. I'm so good. It's so weird for me.
Anyway, what are we supposed to talk about?
I was going to carry on asking you some questions about who's that first learning to Guru, searching, carrying on a search, or getting that revelation.
You already know of everything.
Not really.
Yeah, you have. You've studied Gorgovinda Maharaj's book, and Bhaktisiddhanta has his things to say. As far as I know, Madhavananda also printed that thing with Bhaktisiddhanta's statement concerning the importance of manifesting the individual sincerity and how Chaitya Guru's within the heart and Chaitya Guru's guides. You know, Yeyatam Mam Prakaditi Tang Satari Bhajamiham, as a surrender, according to the sincerity. Sincerity, according to Prabhupada, is defined as the desire to please Krishna. So, if there's a serious desire to please Krishna, then Chaitya Guru knows what's the actual intent within the heart, the hopes, the aspirations of every living entity.
So accordingly, is sending Guru?
Yeah, then...
Because like, Guru Maharaj is saying, according to your desire, you will get... If you haven't got...
That means sincerity.
Yeah, because one of the questions like...
If you want Sadguru, then you're going to get Sadguru. Of course, you're going to get Sadguru when Krishna is ready to give you Sadguru. Otherwise, you get... Yeah, because the thing is, we have to remember that there's two things. One thing is what we think we want now. And the other thing is what we deserve according to what happened in previous lives.
That's one of the things I want to talk to you about.
You know, because it may be, for example, if you take into consideration the instruction that Srila Prabhupada gave to one devotee who was splintering away from ISKCON. I think he was in Hawaii at that time, not to mention any names unnecessarily. But he told to that devotee that if he didn't come back to Srila Prabhupada, in other words, if he tyagged his guru, because Prabhupada was his guru, that if he tyagged his guru, then he wouldn't get guru again for 700 lifetimes. So you can imagine if something like that happened to someone in some previous lifetime, then he may be struggling to find guru. Even he comes in contact with devotional association because he had, after all, in previous lifetimes, he had previous devotional association or whatever. But he may not be able to solve his guru problems for 700 lifetimes. Things like that can happen. In other words, due to offenses done to the guru in previous lifetimes. In other words, Krishna knows very well that a particular soul misbehaved toward one of his representatives, because after all, they're Krishna's representatives. So it's not like Krishna doesn't know everything. Chaitya Guru knows everything. Paramatma knows everything.
Can I ask a couple of questions in terms of because the basic process, from what I've understood, is to chant and to associate with those people that are aspiring for those things, or have that thing. And the serious. That theory, you need to hear from those.
To try to seek out pure devotional association.
Yeah, and to try and serve those devotees.
Because if you don't seek out pure devotional association, then that's also indicative of your desire to maintain material attachments or whatever.
Now, one thing, like when it says someone is searching for that guru, that's a desire, or desire to meet that type of person. Like the level of their security may not allow them to have that. They just carry on chanting and doing their service, and because surely one part of it is, like you're a fallen person, you're trying to find someone who can help you to become more and more serious, and but you may not afford that type of person yet.
Yeah.
So just by carrying on...
Or you may not be able to see that person.
So, see that.
Krishna's not allowing you to see. Just like so many people saw Krishna in the battle of Kurukshetra, but they didn't recognize who he actually was. But they actually saw. Atheists will see the deity in the temple and see a stone. They won't recognize that he's actually Satchidananda Vigraha, Krishna himself. So according to the eligibility to see, and according to Krishna's desire, because Krishna says Yogamaya Samavita, mudoyam na vijananti. He doesn't reveal himself. They don't see.
And the prayer, like, can you say to Krishna, my desire is to meet a Prema Bhakta who's a Gaur Bhakta and a Prema Bhakta, for example, so that's my desire, because disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Is that conditional prayer?
No, but a more realistic prayer.
Yeah.
Because actually, you can say your desire,
yeah.
but is it really your desire?
Yeah,
to what extent is it your desire? In other words, just like you might have heard me tell the story of how I threw my beads across the room and blurted out to the inner voice within me, which was again and again interrupting. It was Krishna interrupting my japa, saying, first deserve, then desire, first deserve, then desire. Then I threw my beads all the way into that corner from all the way over here. Curtains were closed. My deities were taking rest there. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning when I was chanting my japa. And said, damn it, when will I be able to deserve the desire? And then immediately, as soon as I said that, within a split second, an Akashvani in my room. Akashvani means a sky voice, a voice that manifested, permeating the whole ethereal atmosphere, saying, when your desire is big enough. It was the first time and last time I've ever heard an actual Akashvani. It wasn't coming from any particular place, it was just coming from ether. But that answer to my question answered a lot of questions for me. When your desire is big enough. So what that means, the immediate implication of that statement manifest in my heart as soon as he said it, was that desire is big enough means that it's so big that there's no room for any other desires in your heart. When you're actually desiring Sadguru, and there's no room for any other desire in your heart, then from your side, you're deserving. Because you're deserving when your desire is big enough. You're deserving from your side. It can only be when your desire is so big that there's no other desire in your heart. No room for any other desires. So then, the point is that it may not be so realistic for you to pray in such a way that I desire this. So therefore, please fulfill my desire, because your desire may not be big enough. In other words, you may not deserve.
No doubt.
So the better thing to pray for, more honestly admitting that I know that I should be desiring, but I know my desire is not big enough. I know that I don't deserve. I don't deserve anything. After all, my desire was to leave the company of Krishna, to come to suffer in this material world, to play number one, the big boss, big fish. So that was my desire. And as long as my false egoism is not completely purified, that desire is still lingering to some extent or another. So therefore, really, my desire is not big enough. So therefore, really, I don't deserve. I don't deserve Guru. If it's depending on the amount of my sincerity, meaning I have the desire to please Krishna by somehow or other serving his representative, Guru, then I'll never make it.
That's how I feel inside.
Yes, so therefore, the prayer should not be that I desire this, therefore could you please fulfill. The prayer should be that I know that I don't desire it. I know that I don't deserve. I don't have enough desire. I don't have enough sukriti. I don't have enough going. But my prayer is to beg and beg and beg for special causeless mercy of Krishna. That even though I don't desire, but I have no other hope if I don't get,
for me, I feel like
someone
I'm not qualified at all. I feel that, and I feel like I'm chanting and trying, but I know that I'm far away from. But I know that that's the right thing, and that if I do it, if I try to do anything else and try and friends to someone without having faith that that type of person, I'll be cheating myself and that person. That'd be a funny thing to do. So I want to make it.
But before we can wrap this point up, but then there's another point of discussion that can be also entertained. The fact that we actually don't deserve, or the recognition of our lack of deserving, doesn't stop when Krishna somehow or other miraculously gives his causeless mercy to reveal to you your Sadguru. Even after Krishna gives his causeless mercy, if he so desires, to answer that prayer, not that I desire, but whether I desire or don't desire, I need your mercy. And hopefully by the influence of such a stalwart devotee, then he can help me to increase my desire like that, or become more qualified or more deserving. We don't deserve. Who deserves? Hardly anyone can say that they deserve to have Sadguru. But that mentality, that understanding, that realization, as it were, that I don't deserve and that I require mercy, that should be a perpetual thing, a perpetual consciousness of the individual, that actually I don't deserve. How I can never deserve really sufficiently. If I could deserve, then I could pay back my spiritual master. I could repay the debt that I owe to the spiritual master for his mercifully, causelessly mercifully, picking up such a wretched individual as myself. So actually I don't deserve. I'm always falling short of actually deserving. And therefore I always require to again and again petition Guru and Krishna for special causeless mercy. Meanwhile, I try my best, and Krishna does the rest. Try my best, but we never try our best.
Yeah. There's more.
But at least our level best.
Yeah, because that's the point. I can see there's more I can do, but I can't do that. So it's like
because we're not surrendered enough.
It's like hang on trying.
We're not inspired enough. We're not
pure enough.
Pure enough. Too many anarthas and whatnot. So ultimately, that should be our prayer, both before and after we get the divine dispensation of Sadguru.
That's the point that meant, it can be more honest than it all.
Because ultimately Krishna is Sadguru. Guru is Krishna, and others may be representative agents of his energy. Krishna Shakti meaning So, but aside from that, in terms of increasing our sukriti, so that
that's our desire, basically.
Yeah. Sukriti means our good fortune. We have to become fortunate. Bhagyavan Jeev. So, to the degree that you're fortunate, to that degree, but accumulating agyata and gyata sukriti over lifetimes and lifetimes, the good fortune can be increased. It's just like you may be a pauper now, but if somehow or other you get
work in the right direction,
mercifully benedicted by someone who comes along and puts a little something in your bank account here and there, then gradually, with interest and whatnot, your bank account increases. So the idea of spiritual sukriti going into your transcendental bank account means gradually increasing your good fortune, so that you become more and more bhagyavan. Then there's ways to knowingly also, seeing as to how we have some cognizance of the fact that there's necessity. So then you can knowingly go about doing things which will help to increase the stockpile of good fortune in your transcendental bank account, such as circumambulating Govardhan Hill, daily bathing in Yamuna, daily worshipping Tulsi Maharani, trying to do our Shnik Ram Ram best we can, taking darshan of the deities, attending the Sankirtan performances. After all, that's the Yuga Dharma. Mahaprabhu came forward in this age to propagate the Yuga Dharma, and we're saying, I'm too busy, I don't have time to be bothered with that. There's other more important things on my platter. That's the way it is with an awful lot of devotees. They just don't do Harinam Sankirtan, which is the actual Yuga Dharma. And they do so very little of it. They have so many other things to do. More important, supposedly, but they're not more important. There's actually nothing more important than performing the Yuga Dharma. Anything else that we're doing should culminate in our inspiration to perform the Yuga Dharma. And if it doesn't do that, then it means that we should question whether or not we're doing the right thing, or whether our mindset is in the right place, whether we've actually understood what is Mahaprabhu's intentions for the fallen conditioned souls. So if Mahaprabhu sees that someone is again and again and again, daily, regularly, engaging himself in Nam Sankirtan with as much energy and as much of his time involvement is possible, then he's going to see that this man is at least sincere, at least a little serious, about taking the gift that I've come to offer, namely Kali Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan. So if he sees that at least you're interested in the affair, then he may be inspired more quickly to reciprocate that this man's serious about doing the Yuga Dharma. And doing the Yuga Dharma doesn't mean that you have to have Sadguru just to do the Yuga Dharma. We should hear the holy name or chant the holy name in the association of pure devotees, or at least people who are serious about trying to become pure devotees. Whether they're on the clearing stage or at least if they're on the clearing stage, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they are not bad company. It's not bad to associate with persons who are chanting Namabhas, shadow Namabhas. But it's not good to associate with persons who are chanting the reflected name, Bhakti-bimba Namabhas. They're materialistic devotees. But those who are chanting Chaya Namabhas, it's not bad to associate with them, because at least by their association and by performing Sankirtan Yajna in their company, gradually material contamination is reducing. The anarthas are becoming, at least the grosser anarthas, which are impeding or clouding our ability to see things in proper perspective, are becoming dissipated. So then the next point of discussion would be sadhu sangha, seeking out sadhu sangha. Because factually, real sadhu is one who's chanting the pure name. But we may not be able to recognize who's chanting the pure name and who's chanting Namabhas. But at least we can see who is relatively more pure in his habits or in his consciousness, in his expressions of Krishna consciousness, to the extent that we've been allowed to see that. And take association from persons who are at least consciously endeavoring for perfection and who are encouraging others to endeavor for perfection. Then at least that's positive association. It's not negative association. Yeah, so keeping in the company of people who are positively inclined toward the pursuit of pure devotional ideals. Meanwhile, praying and praying for special causeless mercy. But we should also consider that we may not be aware of what transpired in previous lifetimes in relationship to any representative of Krishna. It may have happened, that we committed some offense and therefore we're suffering a reaction to that offense. Then you have to pray to Krishna to please forgive me if I've committed any offenses in previous lifetimes out of ignorance or out of foolishness. And actually, with a repentant heart.
Repentance.
Yeah, you have to actually culture that repentant heart, being willing to admit that there may have been some reason why I'm having the problems that I'm having now in my search for Guru.
Because I know, for me, I'm quite sensitive to authorities, Christian.
Are you speaking for me too? That is.
So I've always been sensitive in the areas supposed to be pistols whenever they're necessary. I feel very comfortable with the dealing. I'm excited to come forward to talk to someone.
Yeah.
And just the other day, rather was just looking at astrological chart. And he said, something stopping you getting Guru.
Yeah, that can be there because of something
Daivanetrena.
Karmana Daivanetrena. Something from previous. So then you should think in terms of how to circumvent that influence in your life.
But practically,
how do you do it?
And asking Krishna, please help me.
Krishna doesn't have to pay attention to your chart.
Yeah, not to my chart. To understand, that's my understanding. That I must have done something wrong to be in that situation.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, that's my.
So then you have to beg Krishna forgiveness.
Yeah,
really beg. Yeah. The question is, how wet is your pillow getting at night when you lay down to take a rest because you don't have Guru?
Yeah, not that much. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm understanding.
We're toying with the idea of getting Guru, and kind of on the mental platform, and not actually seriously break it down and crying. and crying until you actually get. It's like maybe we cry a few tears and then back to normal. Life goes on.
And it's like the desire slowly intensifying, but not like that anyway. I'm not crying like that.
Yeah. Who's telling Krishna that, look, if I don't get Guru within 1 year's time, I'm going to jump in the Yamuna. See you later. You're not going to, are you going to jump in the Yamuna? Or are you going to jump off and go over down hill because you didn't get Guru?
Not quite that serious.
You're not that serious.
I think so. I'm not.
And another point is, how serious are you about taking advantage of whatever manifestation of Guru is there for you, regardless of whether you get initiation or not? After all, there's two different kinds of Guru. There's more than two different kinds of Gurus, but primarily Diksha Guru is there, Shiksha Guru is there. So then, if you find someone who's transcendentally situated, who you can ascertain has attained a considerable degree of perfection in the chanting of his mantram, etc., then by all means take Diksha from that person. But the Diksha Guru doesn't have to be the only Sadguru in your life. It's not that you only have one Sadguru. You can have many Sadgurus. So many Shiksha Gurus can also be Sadguru.
When you're saying Sat, you're meaning Prema Bhakta?
Huh?
When you're saying Sat, that means...
At least, no, because according to Jagannananda Pandit in Prema Vivarta, he says that Sadguru, that the Madhyamadikari can also act as Sadguru. He makes this point, that he is Sadguru as long as he's in the sadhu position.
What does that mean practically?
Sadhu position means that he's chanting the pure name. The Madhyamadikari also chants the pure name. It's not that only Uttamadikaris chant the pure names. Some Madhyamadikaris in the lower stages of Madhyamadikar, they are not chanting the pure name, but they're on the Nishta platform. But they haven't come to the Ruchi platform. Because Krishna hasn't given himself to him. He hasn't made his divine appearance in his heart. Mother Sachi, in the form of your tongue, hasn't given birth to the divine name. According to Chaitanya Bhagavad, Mahaprabhu tells Mother Sachi that she's the tongue of all living entities. The tongue gives birth to the holy name. So anyway, aside from the point that whoever is actually sadhu, who is a pure devotee, sadhu actually means who is a pure devotee. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions in Jaiva Dharma that those who are chanting the pure name are actually pure devotees, whereas those who are chanting Namavas or Vaishnavavas, they're not actually pure devotees. So there's sadhu-avas also.
And those people are Ruchi and above.
Ruchi and above is considered a pure devotee. So because they're associating, in other words, Krishna is in their heart, and Krishna is dancing on their tongue in the form of the name. So they're actually sadhu. So that kind of sadhu sangha, associating with whether they're Madhyamadikari, progressively ascending to the terrace of Phala, or whether they're Bhavukas, is mentioned that the three classes, the Premika Bhaktas, the Bhavukas, and the Jataruchi Vaishnavas.
What does that mean?
Jataruchi means that in whom Ruchi has appeared.
Where's that mentioned?
Is in Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Chaitanya Shikshamrita says that these three classes of Vaishnavas can give mercy on three different levels. In other words, those who are Jataruchi Vaishnavas, they have the pure name, they're engaged in pure devotional service, so they can create pure devotional shraddha in the hearts of materialistic people, the general populace. That way they can do Jiva Doya and gradually help them to elevate to the Ruchi platform. Whereas those who are on the Bhava platform, they can immediately generate Ruchi. They can create taste for pure devotional service in the ordinary man, and gradually bring them up to the Bhava platform. But he says that the Premika Bhakta has unlimited power at his disposal, and he can immediately bring someone, an ordinary man, up to his position of prema. But in all three cases, it is possible for someone to be benefited by associating with such persons. Of course, the obvious implication is that if you can gain the association of a Premika Bhakta, then that's going to be better. But if you can gain association with a Babuka, don't think that that's not good for you. Someone who's already attained the Bhava position. Because you would do well to come to the Bhava platform yourself.
Do well to get past Nista. I do well to get past Nista.
Yeah, you would even do well to have association of those who have ruchi. It's not such a small thing. Those who have an asakti, according to Harinam Chintamani, it's described how those who have asakti, they're like incessantly pouring tears out of their eyes, and exhibiting a myriad of astam sattvic vikar, even before they come to the Bhava platform. It's not a boss, it's real. So in any case, from our side, we can endeavor to seek out. But no matter how much you seek out, if Krishna doesn't want to make the connection with those people, then you can search and search and search. And even if you don't seek out, if Krishna wants to make, it'll manifest in your life.
How cool he always says to me, you just sit down in one place and do your bhajan, don't move around too much, he says.
Yeah, and Krishna will send you.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
He's always telling me.
But the further point of discussion that I feel is worth mentioning, and that is that in the Vrindavan Mahimamrita by Prabodhananda Saraswati, he says that I worshipped many gurus and I've read many scriptures, but his opinion is that the best guru and the best scripture is Sri Vrindavan Dham. That Vrindavan itself is guru. And furthermore, it is mentioned, even Srila Prabhupada discusses this in a conversation with some of his disciples, how those who live in Vrindavan, for them, Krishna is directly their guru.
Isn't that any adhikar in that discussion of the practitioner?
Krishna is directly their guru. The adhikar will be seen in terms of the extent that the practitioner follows their guru. Just like Prabhupada mentioned in another conversation, when a devotee asked Prabhupada that is it true that for the Brajvasis that Krishna is their guru, Prabhupada answered yes, but the difficulty is why they are not following their best guru. Krishna is the best guru, but they're not following. So then when we think in terms of following best guru, then we have to consider what is the desire, what are the instructions, what is his intention for the fallen conditioned souls in this age of Kali. So then ask yourself simply, how much Harinam Sankirtan are you doing in your life? How much of your life is actually centered around the performance of the Yuga Dharma? Everything else in the Sankirtan movement is Sankirtan really only to the extent that it promotes the ultimate focus on the Yuga Dharma in one's life. Otherwise, whatever else we're doing, if it doesn't increase Sankirtan Ruchi, or our absorption in Sankirtan Rasa, then it's considered as an anartha. Even though it is seen to be one of the angas of pure devotional service. The anga of pure devotional service itself can be considered an anartha if that anga of pure devotional service doesn't promote your absorption in the Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan. And many devotees don't understand this point.
You think from the other four angas you'll get more desire to chant.
The idea is that hearing a Bhagavatam, for example, that should inspire you to glorify Krishna's name. Worshipping the deity in the temple should inspire you to glorify the deity's name. Our worship of the deity, we feed the deity nicely, take care of him nicely. Why? So that he will be inspired to remain with us. Otherwise he might go somewhere else to get something good to eat. But it's not just that he's going to go somewhere else to get something good to eat. Even if he doesn't get something good to eat, but if he sees that his devotees are engaging in Nam Sankirtan, he'll be inspired to stay with us, to place his favorable glances upon our performances of non-sankirtan. But if we're lavishing him, but we're not doing the Yuga Dharma, if we're absorbed, day and night in worshiping the deity, but we're not engaging in the Yuga Dharma, non-sankirtan, then